Welcome back to another video. Today we are expanding on our previous video where we set up NextAuth and added login and registration features using MongoDB. If you haven't watched that video yet, I highly recommend checking it out first. The link for that video is in description below along with the GitHub URL for the starter code. We'll use that setup as our starting point for today's project, which is a task management app using Next.js and MongoDB. This project is great for enhancing your web development skills and creating a tool that helps manage daily tasks. We'll build features that allow you to add, view, update and delete tasks as well as manage user sessions effectively. Throughout this video, we'll guide you through creating the front-end components, server actions, setting backend API routes and many more things. By the end of this video, you will have a fully functional task management app and a deeper understanding of how to build full stack application with Next.js and MongoDB. So make sure to watch the previous video and let's get started on the exciting project. Okay, now let's quickly take a look at what kind of app we are going to build. So let me just open the app here. Okay, so you will see login and sign up here. So you can create an account or log into the existing one. So for the demo purpose, I will just log into my test account. Okay, so this is the dashboard which you will see after you logged in. Okay, and here the user can add task 1. All right, you can see that we have the task counter here as well, which will count the completed task, and based on the completed task the message will also change here. Okay, so let's add another task 2. Got it. Okay, so you can see that here the assigned to and assigned by are same, Radhika, because we have just created the task. So if I edit this task and I assign this to someone else, maybe Snehal Tade, so let's see what happens now. The assigned to changes, and if you see in your task, the task 2 which is assigned to Radhika will show up in your task, and if someone else assigned your task, that will show up here, and the tasks which are assigned by you to someone else will show up here. So let's go ahead and check the account for Snehal and see if the assigned task is there or not. Okay, allow me a minute. I'll just localhost. Okay, so have a look here. The assigned task, which was this one, task 1, here you can see it's assigned by Radhika, assigned to Snehal, right? For example, if I do this now, task for Radhika, and if I update the user to Radhika, you can see here now the task for Radhika will show up. Okay, so you can assign tasks to other users here, and all the tasks which are assigned will be shown up in the dashboard. So all your tasks will be in your task which are assigned to you. Okay, and maybe it's assigned by you or assigned by someone else. All those tasks will be under your task. Assigned to you will be the one which are assigned by some other user, and assigned by you are the tasks which are assigned by you to some other users, right? Apart from that, the basic CRUD application, editing the task, deleting the task, all those kind of things will be there, right? So let's dive into the code and start building our app. So the first thing which we need to do now is to clone the GitHub repository. Let me just show it to you which one. Allow me a minute. So this is the GitHub URL which we need to clone. So I'll just copy this. Okay, and go to the terminal and say git clone. All right, so the repository is cloned now. So let's change directory, cd NextAuth boilerplate. Okay, so npm install, we need to install the dependencies. I will quickly show you what all dependencies are there. So we have already seen this in the previous video, but we need bcrypt, mongoose, next, NextAuth and React Toastify. Okay, these are the dependencies. So it will just install it. The installation process is done here. So npm run dev, we'll just start the server. Let me do that again. npm run dev. All right, so I'll copy this, or I will just click here. Okay, so again this is the same page. So now there are few things which we need to do. So let's check our this file db connect. So you can see that your db string, so you need to update this to your MongoDB connection string. Alright, so for now I will just copy mine. Okay, alright, this process is done. So next thing which we need to do is we need to go to our app and register route. Right now if you see, we are not accepting any kind of name or last name, right? So we also need first name and last name for the user in this process. So what I will do is I will quickly do this. Okay, so we will have two states here, first name and last name, and I will also have the fields here for the same. Okay, where is it? Email, password, we will have it here. So below password I will do that. Okay, so now we have email, first name, last name, passwords are here. Apart from that, we also need to make sure our model have these fields as well. So let's add those. Perfect. So we have email, first name, last name, and password. All right, and apart from that, what we need to do is we also need to change our register route to allow these new fields to be updated in our database, right? So let's go there, and we need to add first name and last name here. Okay, all right, then we also need to add it here. Okay, and there is one more place where we need to add this, and that is in our actions, user actions, and we need to pass it here. Let's check it. Are we sharing those here? No, we also need to pass it here as well. First and last name needs to be passed in the register action as well. Okay, so I believe we have done it. So let's take a quick look what we have done. So first of all, we have created the two states, first name and last name. Then we have also created two input fields for the same first name and last name, and we are setting the fields here, this one. Okay, and after that we are sending those fields to the register action from this, and in the user actions here we are accepting those fields and also sending that to our API route like this. I believe this should work. So let's quickly test it out. So let's try to create a user now. Okay, and see if the first name and last name is captured in the database or not. So let's go ahead and create test1 at test.com and test name, test last name, 123 123, and sign up. So it says user is registered. So let's go back and see. So you can see that the registered user is showing up here, and also the first name and last name is captured properly. So this step is done. All right, so let's go back and log in. So you can see that I have already created two users. One is Radhika and one is Neha. So I will not delete those. So consider that. So I have already created these users as I am going to use them. All right, so let's go ahead and log into the newly created user, test at test.com 123. Perfect. So let's start building our app, and I will have to go to the root page. From here I want to remove this. I want to remove this entire code, and what I will do is I will create two components. One will be header. Let me do that first. So let's create those components. Okay, and we need header.jsx and a to-do.jsx. Yeah. All right, so let's say RACE, and just for now we will just say header component, and here also we will say a to-do component. Okay, perfect. Go back to the page, and here what we need to do is we need to import header first. Header, you can see that the header is already imported here, and we also need to add to do. Here is the to do component, and again the same, the to do component is imported from here. Okay, perfect. So we have header component and to do component here. All right, so let's build the header first. Okay, so let's go to header, and here let's remove this. Let's say header. Okay, and close this here, header. All right, let's give a class of class name pg gray 900. These are all tailwind classes. Okay, so you can check it out on their website, and we need this 900. Text should be gray 900, and padding should be 4 across everywhere, right? And inside this, let's create a container div. Let's give it a class of container mx auto flex column. Okay, and on the medium devices, let's change it to flex row. Okay, items center, justify between. Okay, and we'll also need to create a logo. So let's go here, div, and give it a class name of flex items center, margin bottom 4. On medium devices, we don't need to give any margin. Perfect. Okay, and now we need to import link, and let's give it a class of class name, or one moment, I will just show you how the legacy behavior works, and then we will see the new one. So this one is the legacy one, what I am going to show you now. Anchor tag, and let's give a class name of text to Excel, font gold, text blue 500, and we will name our app task champ. So I just want to show you this. So you can see that it is throwing a link error now, right? That please remove a or use the legacy behavior. So if I use this in here, so it will not give me error, but this is not the proper way. I will show you the correct way to implement this, but for now let's use this. Okay, we'll fix this later on. Done. So what we need to do is, now we need to have a signed in user here, and we also need to have a sign out button here. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and build it now. So here we will see nav, and we'll give a class of flex call md flex row for medium devices, item center, justify between. That is correct, but this is not. And we also need space y2. We don't need this. Justify center, md space on medium devices. We don't need this. Space dash y dash 0. Okay, and we'll also need this as well. On x-axis we need 4, on y we need 0. All right, perfect. Now inside nav we need to create. Okay, so here we need to show the login info and sign up button. Okay, sign out button. So let's do that. So before doing that, we need to go back here in the page here. Let's just close all this for now. Yeah, So you can see that this we have the access to the user in session. So let's pass that user data to our header component. So how we will do that? We will just say user equals to session user. Okay, and we are also going to pass the sign out button. Okay, so let's go back here, and we need to bring the user here as well as the sign out button. So let's first check if we are getting some data in this or not. So let's check it out. json.stringify user. Yeah, so we are getting user here. So you can see the ID, email, first name, last name. We have everything. So what we will say is, we will say signed in as user.email. Okay, all right, so let's bring this back, remove this, and we need to do like this. Okay, and 1 minute, I just need to design this as well, so allow me a minute. So let's create a div here and give a class name flex call md flex row item center space y md space by 0. This is perfect. Okay, and in here we need to create a paragraph tag and give it a class name again. It should be just font bold and text white. Okay, and what we need to do is just need to say sign in as the same here, the same thing. All right, so we can see the signed in as, let's make this capital. So we can see that signed in as test1@test.com. You can also change this to first name if you want. It's completely up to you. Okay, or the last name or something like that. You can also have both the names here. I'll just keep it as email, and after that what we need to do is we need to have a button here for sign out. So button, and perfect, the auto completion code is giving something out. Let's check it and sign out. Yeah, it's perfect. Okay, so let's test it out if it is working or not. So sign out. So perfect, it's working. Okay, let's go back, test1@test. Okay, so we are back. All right, so our header is done. Now we need to focus on our to do component. Okay, so let's go back to the to do component. So here what we need to do is we need to again design this properly. So let's do that quickly because we need to build functionality as well. So that is our priority. So class name, minimum height, screen. Okay, and it should be flex item center and justify center. Then the background should be gray. Or should it be 900 or 800? We can keep 900. And text color should be gray 200. Padding should be 4. All right, so we have done that. Perfect. So now let's go here and create another div. Let's say class name width full, max width on medium devices as well, and background is gray 900 again. Sorry, let's have 800. Then we need to have rounded LG and also some shadow. Shadow should not be Excel, it should be a large only, and we need to give it padding of 6. Okay, so that is done. Go ahead, and we need to create an h1. We'll say your tasks. So let's give a class names. Class name will be text 3XL, font bold, text center and margin bottom 4. Okay, and now what we need to do is we need to create a div again, and give the class of text center and margin bottom 6. Okay, and here we will show a completion notification. So let's create that div task completed, and class name should be text excel. I believe we should say like this, h1 and h1. That will also work. Yeah, we don't need to say div there. Okay, and now we need to show the counter. So let's say div class name, it should be text3excel, font will be bold, and text color will be blue 500, and we will say 0 out of 10 for now. Okay, after this what we need to do is we also need to show a message here. So we'll just say, wow, you completed all your tasks. Okay, so based on the task completed, this message will change. So for now, for a placeholder purpose, we will just keep it like this, and let's move to the next part. Now here we need another div, give the class name of flex, margin bottom 4, and inside this div we'll have an input field. Okay, and the type will be text, and value will be empty for now. Okay, and class name, we need to add some classes. So flex 1, padding 2, and rounded, of course, rounded 1 LG, and also we need to set a background color gray of 700. Text will be white, of course. All right, now what we need to do is we also need a button here. So button, and button will have a class name of, let's say, bg blue 500, padding 2, rounded R LG, and we'll close this button. We'll just have a plus icon here. Perfect. So we have this. Let's go again. What we need to do is we need to have multiple buttons here. Below this div we need to have multiple buttons. So we'll just say div class name flex, justify center, margin bottom 2. Okay, and here we'll have four buttons. One second, let me just open that app, see how many buttons are there. So there are 4 buttons, all your tasks assigned to and assigned by you. Okay, so we have 4 buttons here. All right, so let's go and build one. So first button will be called as all. The classes will of course change. One second, the class will not be this one. So I'll just say border solid, border dash white, border dash b dash 2, bottom, and padding will be padding x, axis will be 4, padding y will be 1, margin right will be 2, and I believe that's all. So we need these 4 buttons here. Okay, so the second button's name is your task, then assigned to you, then assigned by you. See, all these buttons are same, only difference is that the labels. Okay, so what we can do is we can create a function, and with the help of map array map function we can create this dynamically as well. So we'll do that later on, but for now let's focus on building the front end. If for example the button is active, we also need to change the color, so we'll change the color to be background blue 500, yes, and text will be of course white. All right, so we have done this as well. So what we need to do now is we need to create a task component. Okay, and for that what we'll do is we'll say ul. Okay, and in this ul we'll have an li. Okay, and one second, let me just give it a class name of class flex item center justify between margin bottom 2 padding 2 and background gray 700 rounded lg, right? Sorry. And inside this li what we'll do is we'll create a div, and let's give it a name of flex and items center. We'll also give some padding. All right, and here we'll have a button, and this button will have a class of, it will be a small button, so we'll give it a width of 4 and height of 4 as well, because it will be a circle, and then rounded full. Okay, and we'll give it some margin of 2. It will be margin, right? And let's do one thing, directly give a color of background green, and it will be 500 like this. So we can toggle this, like if I click on that button, it will change the state of that particular task from completed to incomplete, or vice versa, right? And it will be empty button. I don't need to do anything here. And apart from that, I will have a span, and inside the span I will say your task. Okay, and I will have 2. So first I will have class name, and as I will make sure this is a completed task, so in that case I will say line through. Okay, and yeah, that's enough. Then what we'll do is, again here we need to create a div. Let's give a class of flex items center. Okay, and inside this we need to have a button, and inside this button we'll have 2 span. So first let's give a class name of this, class name text gray 400, and on hover we need to change the text to white. And also what we need to do is give it the margin right 2, and here we'll say assign to Snehal, and I will give a class name. It will be flex and text extra small. Okay, I will need this one more time here, and assign by will again say Snehal. Perfect. And after this and here we will have an edit icon like this, and also a delete icon, so just like this. Okay, so these 2 things are here, so don't worry about it. We'll modify these and we'll have buttons and functions for this. So for now let's keep it like this only, and do one thing, let's copy this entire thing. Okay, and have another task. So you have your task 1 and your task 2. So what I need to do is I need to make this gray, as in it's not completed yet. and where is the line through? This line through will be empty. So we have the UI for completed task and empty task as well, right? And we have these buttons which will make functional in a while. Okay, perfect. I believe the UI is good, so let's go ahead and start working on it. So we will also need certain states here. So let's import use state. So use state, and as we are using use state, we need to convert this into a client component. Use client. Alright, so let's focus what all states we will require now. So here, so first basic one, which is task, and set task will be empty array. Okay, then we'll also need state to handle the current and new, which is a new task. Like for example, these all tasks will be stored in this task, and this task which we are typing right now, which will be in this new task. Okay, so new task is set new task, set new task equals to use state, and it will again be empty string. All right, and then again what we'll need is we'll need all users as well, all users, because we need to show on the edit pop-up, we need to show the user which we need to assign the task to. So all users, set users equals to, again it will be an array, use state empty array. I think for now this is good. So let's do one thing. First create a function to add a task. Okay, const handle add task, and inside this is correct. More or less, yes, it is correct. Yeah, this is correct. So let's go down here. There is our input file, input field. Yeah, this is the one. So let's have on change, and in this on change we'll say set new task. It should be task. I will rename that e.target.value. Okay, and the value here will be the new task. So let's go back here and first change this new task. Okay, and on submit, on clicking on this plus button, we need to add this task to the this state, right? So let's try that as well. So where is it? Yeah, here it is. And on click, what we need to do is we need to call that function handle add task. Okay, so let's see if this is working or not. So just for like this. So what I will do is I will just call this here json.stringify, and I will just say show me all the tasks here. It will be displayed. So let's see if it is working. Okay, you can see that all the tasks we are adding are getting pushed in this array, right? This empty array. And how this is happening? So let's go over this function once again. So yeah, this is just, we are just preventing the default behavior of the button click. Okay, and if we are checking if the task is empty or not. If it is empty, we will not do anything. Okay, if this is empty, nothing will happen. And then what we are saying is set task. So set task previous, and previous will be this task, and we are just, this is a spread operator, so all the previous tasks will be here. And what we are doing is we are just pushing the new task to this old task, and after doing that we are setting the new task as empty. Okay, this one. All right, I hope that's clear. Okay, so I'll just remove this. Okay, for now I will keep it. One more thing I want to tell you, that the database schema, we need to create a database schema for this as well. So what we'll do is we will go to model, and we'll have another collection here, todo.js. Okay, and inside this is our to do schema. So there will be, of course, text will be there. Then if it is completed or not, that will be there. So created at, updated at, of course we need that as well. Then creator, who is the creator of the task. Okay, for example, in this case it is the test1 user who is the creator, and who it is assigned to. Okay, so these two will be the references to the user collections, and that is the only thing which we are trying to do here. Okay, so what we need to do is, first of all, let's test it out. Let's create a dummy task based on this schema. Okay, so I already have that. So what I will do is, I will just go to my this database and go to to-dos, and here I will just copy this entire thing and go to our to-do, and here I will just paste it here, the dummy data, and I will remove this. Okay, so we don't need these things, created at and updated at, so I will just remove that for now. All right, and again I will delete it from here. So we have 3 tasks and they are printing here as well. Okay, so what we need to do now, we need to loop over all these tasks and show it here. So these are just dummy tasks. In a while we are just going to connect to database and grabbing that data from there, but for now, build our app based on these dummy tasks, so that it will be easier for us to implement the database actions. Okay, perfect. So let's go back here. All right, so what we can do is, we can also create a component for this li, because again this is going to repeat itself. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a task.js. okay, and inside the task, what we will do is, we will rafce, this will be empty fragments. Okay, and inside this we will have this li, sorry, not this li, entire li thing, copy it here and paste it here. Okay, and we will delete everything from here. So let's do one thing, let's just say task.map. okay, and we'll also say task.length is greater than 0. If that is the case, then show this, or else just show no to-dos and no tasks. It should be tasks. Okay, all right, so now what we'll do is, we'll just say we'll just call that task component here, which we just created. So task, so you can see it is not working. One second, let me check. Oh, silly mistake. So it should be like this, and we need to need this. Okay, so you can see that task is repeating itself. All right, we are seeing 3 tasks because we have 3 objects here in this task array, right? So what we need to do is, we need to pass few things here to our task. So let's do that. So first will be id, not id, it will be key, and key will be our task._id, right? This one, task id. Okay, and then we also need to push the task itself. So task equals to task, we are also adding that as a prop. Then again, what we need to do is, we need to send all, let's not do that for now. So these are the 2 things we need to pass, task id and task. So let's go to the task thing, bring both the things here, task comma task, sorry, what was that, only tasks, we are only sending tasks, so we just need to say task. Okay, so, and here we will say task.text, task.text. So you can see that the text is changed now, right? So before it was just your task like this, but now it's dynamically changed based on the objects we have here, right? Perfect. So let's go back here, and what we need to do is we also need to yeah, let's focus on the completion action. So here, exactly here, what we need to do is we need to say if task dot completed. Okay, if that is the case, then what we need to do is we need to show this background green. Okay, and background green dash 500, or else we need to show this. Yeah, for that to work, what we need to do is we need to convert this into a template string. So let's do that first. All right, so that is done, and what we need to do now is we need to go to our to do and see. I think everything is false, so we need to make someone true, like some to do to be completed, and if you come back you can see that the color is green. So if I change this as well to true, it will change to true, right? So that means our logic is working. All right, so let's keep one true and rest of them as they are. So now what we need to do is here again, what we need to do is we need to say template string again dollar task dot completed. If that is the case, then what we need to do is we need to have this class line through. Okay, if that is not the case, then we just need to show the empty strings. All right, so you can see that the line through is working as well. Perfect. So let's do few more, and what we need to do now is we need to also change this assign to and assign by. So it's simple task. So let's just say task dot assign to. Okay, and first name, but I think we need to wrap it in this. All right, let's copy this, and here as well we need to say creator. Who is the creator? So creator dot first name. All right, so this is again coming from the database. So let's check that as well. So if I say Radhika 2, so you can see that it's changed Radhika 2, so it's properly coming from our fake JSON. Okay, all right, let's go back, and what is okay. So now the actions are remaining, the edit action as well as the delete action. Both the actions are remaining, right? So let's go and build those actions now. So below this handle at task, we'll have another action which will be handle, another function which will toggle the task completion, right? So we'll say handle toggle task equals to async, not async, we are not dealing with database right now, so it will be just a normal array function. Okay, but this will require an ID of the specific task which we are doing, which we are marking as completed or incomplete. Okay, and what we need to do is it's pretty straightforward. So we need to say set task, and here we will say task dot map. Okay, and is this correct? Let me see. No. So task dot map, and we will have this function here, and inside this we'll say task, and the condition will be like this: task dot id. If the task dot id is equal to id, let me see if that's correct. Yeah, this is correct. So see, if task dot id is equal to the id which is this, okay, in that case just toggle it. So we are just saying that completed. If it is a true, then set it to false. If it is false, set it to true. I hope that's clear. And yeah, that's done. I believe there is error. Okay, so it should be const. All right, so let's do this. Let's pass this to our to do. Where is it? Yeah, here. Let's pass it to our task. So handle toggle equals to handle toggle. Okay, So we are passing the task here, and let's go to our task and also bring the handle toggle function. Okay, and what we need to do is on this particular button here, we need to say on click, and we just need to execute this function. So let's do this. Handle toggle click task dot underscore id, right? That's what we did. So let's see if this is working or not. So it is not working for some reason. Cannot read properties of undefined reading underscore id. So I believe that's correct. What could be the issue? id is undefined. Why is that? Let me do one thing. I'll just comment this out for now, and I will print the task completely here. So json.singify, and let's do one thing. Let's remove this as well from here. We don't need this. All right. So where is that? Yeah, here. So we need to see the details here. So yeah, we do have access to the id. So why it is saying id is undefined? Let's try that again. Cannot read properties of undefined task.id. Okay, it is throwing an error here for some reason. Did we make some issue here? I don't understand. So task.id equals to id. Okay, the issue is here. Let's remove this, and also this. I believe this should work now. Okay, this is working properly, right? You can see that right over here, this is true. If I toggle this, it turns true and false, right? That is the exact thing which we required. All right, so our toggle function is working properly. Now let's focus on edit as well as delete functions, right? And let me remove this first, and what we will do is we will just go here in our task and remove this stringified thing as well. Perfect. So we are here. So this is done. This is also coming from the fake JSON. The only thing which is pending here is the action on this edit as well as delete buttons. So what we can do is we can just go here. Let me just close this header. So for this edit and delete, I'm going to use a component from Shadcn. So let me just open Shadcn here. Shadcn. This is really a great UI library, and whenever you get time, please do check their documentation and the components they provide. So let me see which one I want. One second. Dialog. I believe it's dialog. Yeah, this is the one I want. And correct. So we need this one. So okay. So what we can do is we can just go to docs. Okay. Let me just do this. And here we need to install it. Click on installation and select our platform Next.js, and we need this run the CLI. We need to initialize this. Okay, so let's go back to our code editor. In the terminal, we need to install this. Just select the default ones. Okay, and let's go to this dialog section, and we need to add this as well. So let's copy this npm. Give it a minute or two. It is starting. Yeah, it is done. All right, let's start our server again. Run tape. Perfect. So I believe I have something. One second, let me just check this. Let's do one thing. Let's go to our components and create one. We'll call it edit task .jsx. Okay, as well as delete task.jsx. delete task.jsx. All right. So what we need to do is we will just copy this, and sorry, not like that. We'll first create a component and we'll copy this, and this, because this is the exact thing which we need, right? This is the delete action, so I'll just copy that as well. Okay, perfect. So let's go back to our to do and open the task component, and we need to add it here, right? So what we can do is we can just cut this, okay, and we'll just say delete task. Okay, that's the only thing which we need now. Let's go to this thing, just copy this, and it is not working right now, but give it a minute or two. I think we need to log in now because we stopped the server before. So let's do that again. Radhika. Okay, and I believe now this is opening, right? So see, this entire thing is coming from the Shadcn component which we just added. It's very simple, and I just copied this entire code and used it here. So nothing special, nothing fancy. Perfect. So we need to do the same for edit task as well. The similar thing will work. So what we can do is we can just copy this and paste it in the edit task for now, and here in the tasks, the task component, I will just cut this, go to the edit task, and I will just paste it here as well, the icon, and here I will import the edit task. The autocomplete is not working. 1 second. Edit task. Sorry, I need to change this to edit task. Edit task and edit task. Okay, now let's go back here in the tasks and import it now. Edit task. Yeah, perfect. You can see that both the components are already imported here, and let's go back here and see if it is working. Yeah, both the buttons are working fine. Just to distinguish between them, what I will do is I will just say, are you sure you want to edit? So if I click on this, it says, are you sure you want to edit? If I click on this, it's it says, are you absolutely sure? That's all. So yeah, both the components are working, and we just need to build the functions around. We just need to build the functionality around this. Perfect. Let's go back to do, and what we need to do is we need to create a function here, and we will give it a name of const handle delete task equals to, of course we will need id of that task which we are going to delete. Okay, and here we will just say set task. Let me just see if this is correct. Not equals to id. I think this is correct. Okay. Okay, perfect. So let's pass this function to the task equals to handle delete task. Let's call it here. Okay, and again what we need to do is we just need to make sure that whenever someone clicks on edit task, that function fires up, right? So, and we have added this confirmation because we don't want the users to accidentally delete their tasks, right? So that's why we have done that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the necessary things. So let's first focus on deleting. So let's do handle delete task equals to handle delete task, and we also need to pass the task object, the entire task object, task equals to task, right? So again, then we need to go to this delete task component, and we need to import those two functions, one function and one task object. Yeah, perfect. This is the exact thing which we need. So we will just say, are you sure, absolutely sure this action cannot be done, this will permanently delete your account. We will just say delete your to do and remove your data from our servers. That's the only thing which we need to do. Okay, now what we need to add is we need to add a button here. Below this we will add a button we'll say button, and we'll get a class name of bg-blue 500, and also padding of 2, rounded LG, text-white, and margin top of 2. Okay, and we'll say confirm delete. Okay, let's test it out. Yeah, we are getting the button here. One second, let me just put it below this. Yeah, perfect. And what we can do is we can say margin top 4. Anyways, leave that, I don't care about that. Perfect. So now on click we need to fire the handle delete function, right? Handle delete function, this one, and let's test it out. I think this should do it. Yeah, perfect. So you can see that the delete function is working properly, right? This is exactly what we need. Okay, got it. So delete is done. Now we need to focus on the edit function. So let's close the delete one, and let's go back to do and create that function for us. Where is it? Yeah, const handle edit task equals to, again we need id, as well as we also need the new task, the new text which they assigned, and also we need the assigned to user, new assigned to, in case someone assigns it to someone else. Okay, so that is done. And now what we can do is, let me see if this is correct. Set task, this is perfect, I guess. Text equals to new text, assigned to equals to new assigned to. Got it, this is good. So what we need to do now is again do the same thing, pass this function. Okay, do the same with task, import this function, and we also need to pass it here. I believe this is not the most optimized way of passing the props, but yeah, for now let's focus on this. Okay, and what else we need? We also need to send the task so that we can have access to the task ID, right? Perfect. Okay, so right now we don't have the users data, but for now we will not focus on that. So we just focus on editing the current task, right? So let's go back here. In the edit task, we will call all those things, and those are handle edit task. Yeah, this one, handle edit task and task, right? And what we can do is we can remove this. We can just say edit task, right? And instead of this description, we will have an input field, input. Okay, and this input will be type of text, class name will be flex1, padding 2, rounded LG, background will be gray 700, text will be white. Okay, so let's open that and see. And after that, I will just create the HTML for now, but we will focus on the functionality later on. After that, we will create assign to label, and below that we'll have a basic HTML select, and we'll give it class name of, let's say, padding 1, rounded LG, background gray 700, text white. Okay, and let's close this. Inside this we'll have some options. Option, and we'll say Snehal, and let me copy this few more times. Test user 2, right? Okay, so you can see that this is also coming up, but this is just a fake data. We'll pull these details from server, and let's do. So what we need to do is we need to also create a button here which will handle the submission. Class name, background blue, 500, padding 2, rounded LG, text will be white of course, and it will say update, right? Perfect. So let's also wrap this in form. Okay, and empty 10, sorry, not 10, it should be 3 or 4. Okay, I believe that will do it. We can also say width full. I'm not focusing much on the design part right now, but yeah, you can beautify this accordingly. Okay, so this is done, and what we need to do is on click of this function, on of this button, on click, we need to execute a function which will update the task. Okay, so in this case we need to have access to task ID. We also need the new task. Okay, I will just quickly create a new state for this, and we also need new assign to, right? We need all those things, but what we can do is we need to create a state now. So we need 3 states. First will be const new task, set new task. Okay, and it will be use state. So the default will be task dot text, which will be coming from the task object, and we will also set the value here, value task dot text, right? And what we'll do is we'll also have another state, const new assign to, set new assign to, and again that will be task dot assign to dot id, right? So that is there. Then we also need one more thing. We also need this const, because you can see that if I click on update, the pop-up is not closing, so we don't want that kind of functionality. So I can just say const open, set open equals to the default will be of course false, right? And here in the dialog I can have these properties, open equals to open, and not this, and I will say on open change set open. Let's go ahead, and so what we need to do now is we just need to change this state whenever something changes in this field. Here if something changes, we need to change this as well. So I need to name this new task. Okay, all right, now what we can do is, I don't want to work on this functionality now, this is a pending one. So let's just send this data and see. Okay, for now what we'll do, we'll fake this new assign to, we'll send some dummy data instead of this variable. Okay, so let's go back and let's go here, no sorry, here, and here I want this one. Then entire object I will copy, and I will just have it here somewhere. I will say let, one second, I will do this. For now I will comment this out, we will need this of course. For now I will comment this out. I will create a variable for this with the same name, new assign to. Okay, and I will have this object here. This is absolutely fake, so we know that. So we are just sending the fake data for now. Okay, in this, and let's go back to our task, and let's cross check everything. Let's go back to do and edit task. I believe it is properly working now. It should work now. Let's go and try to edit something. So it's working, but the pop-up is not getting closed. So let me just reload the page and see if that is the issue. So now delete, I want to edit it. No. So let's go back to edit task, and here on open change is also correct, set open. So here let's create a multi-line function, because we need to add one more thing here. Okay, I believe this will work now. Task updated. Yeah, so it is, you can see that task is also updated now, but here assigned by, you can see it's empty, so there is some issue in the assigned by thing. So let's go and check that. So how we can check it? So what we can do is we can after this is done, we can console.log updated tasks. Okay, and we'll just say task here. So we'll get the consoles here. One second, let me just clear this. So I'll just say updated to update. So here are the updated tasks. There should be some issue in the updated task. Alright, the issue is that the assigned tasks are getting pushed, but if you come here and see that we are not pushing the creator task here, we are not sending the creator data as well, because what we need to do is whenever we are updating the task, we also need to send the creator task creator data back. So what I will do is I will just copy this one. Okay, I'll just copy this, and in here I will just say creator is this, right? This should work now. So let's go back and check it once. If I edit this, I will say, yeah, the creator is assigned by is changed. That means the creator is changed. All right, so yeah, that fixes it. So don't worry about this. This fake data which we are passing, they will be coming from the database, so that is not a challenge right now. So let's see what else is pending. So here these things are pending, so these buttons we need to work on now, right? So let's go to these buttons, and these buttons will be pretty straightforward. So let me just do one thing. So rather than doing this, what we can do is we'll comment this out first. Okay, and here we will say we create a manual array, and that array will be like this. All this we are doing this, right? So all, then we have your task, then we have assigned to you, then assigned by you. So in array we can't have space, so I will just remove this, and we'll have a filter here which will help us adding the spaces and all. So allow me a minute, I will just explain this quickly. Map. Okay, so we are just mapping over this function. Okay, and this is giving me auto completion. Is this correct? Let me check. This is doing something, but I believe class is same. This is missing, I guess. Yeah, so this is perfect. So you can see that there are no spaces here. So for that, what we can do is have a function. Let's do that function here. Let me remove this console log, and let's say const filter labels equals to, and it will, no, it won't be a function. Basically we are just saying this all equals to all. We are creating the labels here, and we'll say your task equals to your task. Okay, and similarly assigned to you will be assigned to you, right? So once that is done, what we can do is we can here, instead of calling filter, what we can call is we can say filter labels, right? And wrap this, and it will be a array. So what we are saying is, so this filter labels array, we want the value of this particular key. Okay, that key could be all your tasks assigned to or anything like that, right? So basically, let me see, I made some mistakes maybe in creating the labels. So all, sorry, not this, this all should be like this, and what is the assigned to you, and assigned to you should be like this. Okay, so it's working fine, perfect. So you can see that what we are basically doing is we have just created these labels here, and we are just mapping these fields against these values against these keys. That's the only thing which we are doing here. A simple hack, right? Okay, let's go back and see what needs to be done now. So we need to create a function here. So for example, whenever I click on your task, or whenever I click on assign to or assigned by you, I need this task to change based on the assignments, right? So we need to create a function first. Not only that, what we need to do is we also need to create a state. So these are the tasks, but we also need something called as filtered task. Filtered task. And the default value of this task will be this task, right? This will be the default value, right? And what we need to do is, for example, if anything changes, like if the task changes, we also need to change the filter task here, right? So for that purpose, what we can do is we can create a use effect. Okay, I believe it will be imported, so I'll just delete this, and I will say set filtered task. And when do I want to do that? Whenever the task change, I want to filter, I want to update the filter task, right? That's the only thing which I am saying here. Okay, and below this filter label, I want to create a function. I will say const handle task sort equals to filter, obviously filter, and so what I will do is set active filter. We also need to have an active filter. What I'm saying is that, one second, I'll just show it to you. So for example, if I click on all, if I click on this button, all, so it should be active, right? So that because of that, we also need to have a this state, right? So by default, all will be the active filter, right? So that is done. So whenever someone clicks on something, it becomes active. That is only what we are trying to do here. And what we can do now is, it's fairly simple. So we'll say if filter equals to all. Okay, if that is the filter, sorry. So what we can do is we can say set filter task equal to task. So we don't need to make any changes. We are just saying set filtered, and we also don't need to do that. But again, just for the sake of this, we are doing it. Else if what we need to do is, else if the filter is your task, okay, then what we need to do, we need to set filtered task equals to task.filter. It will be like this: task.creator.id is not equals to user ID. I will just create this user ID here. So for now, what I will do is, I'm logged in as, I believe I'm logged in as Radhika, right? So this will be my user ID. So I will hard code this for now, and after that, what we will do is we are going to get this data from server, obviously. Const user ID equals to, I think we don't need to hard code it. We do have access to, no, we don't have access to users right now. Let's do one thing. Let's go back to this page and let's create a variable here. Let's say const user id equals to session.user.id. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll pass this to everywhere. We'll pass this to our to do. So let's say user id, okay, like that, and inside this we'll call user id here, user id. Okay, so this is actual user id, so we are just getting that from the session now. And I think, yeah, that's it. What is this error now? So sorry, this is not allowed. There was just a space there, so that's it. So else if again, and what is the next key? So next key is assigned to you. Sorry, not assigned to you, your task. Your task is done. I believe the assigned to you is there. So filter equals to assigned to you. If that is the case, what we need to do is we need to set, I think I made a mistake here. This should not be like this, so it will just be like this, simple. So if the creator task is equals to user id, that means if the that task is created by the same user who is logged in that case do this, right? We are just showing those tasks here in your task. That's what this is. Okay, so again let's say else if, let me see if this is correct. I believe this is. So we have assigned by you, assigned to you your task, all. I think we have done this. So let's go and test it out if this is working fine or not. So where is our button? Yeah, here it is. So let's say on click, then here we'll say handle task sort and filter. Okay, so next thing which we need to do is, let me just remove this. So what we need to, so we need to map this task based on the filtered one. So let's just remove this and say filtered task. Okay, and same way do this, right? So let's reload and see if it is working or not. Your task assigned to you, assigned by you. So assigned by you is not working. Assigned by Snehal, Radhika. Assigned by you should also show something. So let's go back to our function and see assigned by you, console, and click on assigned by you, assigned by you, assigned to you, assigned by you. So let's see, task dot creator dot id equals to user id, and task dot assigned to dot id is not equals to user id. Okay, so assigned by Snehal to Radhika, this should be assigned. Okay, no, okay, yeah, that's correct. So the problem is this particular thing, there is no task assigned by Snehal or by someone else to Radhika, so that's why this is not this is showing empty. So I believe this is working fine. Okay, we missed few things here. So if you see this particular thing, your task, this needs to be assigned to you task, right? So because this assigned to you currently is showing all the tasks, but it should only show tasks which are assigned by some other user, right? So in that case, this should be your task, and your task which is just assigned to is equal to the current user id, means all the users tasks will be showed in your task, right? So assigned to you is showing perfectly fine now, and assigned by you is showing none because there are no tasks right now. Okay, so perfect. I think this is good. So we have done this as well. So the filtering is done. Now let's work on this particular bit. And what we will do is we will create a function here which will count the completed task, and based on the completed task we will show different messages here, right? So let's do and build that. So first of all, let's calculate the percentage here. So we will do that right here. So let's say const get completion message equals to percentage. So let's say if percentage is greater than equal to 100. Okay, if that is the case, then we will say return wow, awesome job. Okay, that's what we will return. So else if percentage is greater than equal to 66, in that case we will say return you are rocking today, you are rocking today. Okay, and if the percentage is 33, correct, so you will say keep it up, because they are not doing great, of course, keep it up. Okay, and we'll just motivate them. If for example, if none of the tasks are completed, we can say you can do it. Okay, so that is the thing. Now what we need to do is we need to calculate the percentage here. So for that we will say const completed task count equals to task.filter.completed length. I think this is perfect. Sorry, this is good. Okay, so we can just call this function right away. Where is it? Here. So we can say okay, yeah, that's working. And instead of this where is it, to 10, we can say task.length, so 3 out of 3. So if we add one more, so it will be 4, right? I hope that's clear now. So let's go back, and here we need to get the completion message as well, and of course we are getting the we need to create a percentage as well. So let's go and create const completed percentage equals to perfect. This is nice. So let's go here, and inside this div just call our function and pass in the completed percentage. Okay, so you can see that none of the tasks are completed, so it is saying you can do it. If I click on task, it will say, so I need to complete at least 2, so it will say keep it up. So if I click on more, it will say you are rocking today. And why this task is empty? Now what is happening? So the filtered task is not getting updated. So the issue is, if you can see, if I try to add something here, okay, and you can see that the last one which we added, it is not coming as a proper object which the schema requires, right? So we need to pass it accordingly. So what I can do is I can just copy this entire object, okay, and I will go here, and instead of new task I will just create this, and the new task I will return it here for now. But later on what I will do is I will just change it, but for now this is the requirement. So let's see if this is working or not. Yeah, now it is working. Okay, Perfect. When the details will come from database, in that case we don't need to rely on this. We'll definitely change this with the dynamic data coming from the database. All right. Yeah, so we were discussing this point that the completion of, again there is some issue, let me check. So this issue is because the id is same, right? So let's ignore this for now, because the id is either way coming from the database and it will get updated. So for now ignore this, and when this will come from database, this will be automatically fixed, right? I hope you understood what the issue is. Perfect. So yeah, so this functionality is also working. Only thing which is not working is our tabs. Our tabs are not working. Oh, because I changed this for testing purpose. So we need to set it back to filter task. Okay, so now it will work. Yeah, it will work properly. Perfect. I believe the details will also get passed. So you can also ignore this error, because it is saying that two children have the same key property, and that's fair because the to do which we are adding now will have similar IDs as before. Okay, so ignore that for now. Perfect. So I believe we are done with the front end. No, there is one more thing which requires our attention, that is the color is not changing on whenever we are clicking on this, right? So we also need to fix that. Where is the function? Here is the function, right? So what we can do is simply, first let's wrap this class and convert this into a template string. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to check if the active filter is the filter. Okay, active filter is the filter which is this filter. Okay, if that is the case, then just show the background color this. So yeah, see, this is working properly now. Alright, so basically our front end is done. We just need to work on the back end now. Perfect. Alright, so let's start working on the database part. All the actions and all the functions we created now, we'll perform those actions on the real database now. So let's start by adding our task to the database. So here what I will do is I will create another action here. I will say to do .actions.js, right? So and inside this I will say use server because this will be a server action, and I will say export async function add to do, and the details which we need from that is text completed creator assigned to. Okay, these are the details we need. Okay, then what we can do is we can first of all console.log if the details are correct or not. So console.log, okay, add to do text, and what we will do is we will just return true for now. Okay, so let's try and run this command. Go to do, and here let's say const response equals to await add to do and new task. Then what we'll need is it will be false. Is it completed? No, the task whenever we add it will always be false. It will be not completed. The owner is user ID, the creator is user ID, as well as the assignee is also user ID, because we are just creating the task. So it is throwing an error because we need to convert this into an async function. So let's convert this into an async function. It's done. Okay, so what we can do is we will test it out. So if we get a console log for this particular thing, then the data has been passed to server action. So let's do that. What is the error? Add to do is not defined. Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's go back and let's import add to do from to do actions. Import and export cannot be outside of the model. What is this? Oh, I'm so sorry. It should not be here. We need to import it here. Okay, so let's test it out. So see, we are getting this on server, the add to card and these details, right, which we passed right now. So yeah, the server is getting the details. Sorry, the action is getting the details. So we can move forward. We will say const. So let's wrap this in a try catch block. Try catch. Okay, let's say const response equals to await fetch http localhost 3000 API add to do. So we are not created this route yet. We will do that just in a bit. Okay, so let's just completely write this function first. Then method obviously will be post. Okay, headers will also be there. So headers will be, sorry, not like this, content type will be application JSON. Okay, perfect. And we'll also need to send the body in a stringified manner. So JSON dot stringify, and we'll set text equals to text. You don't need to do that in ES6, but let's for now do that. Completed equals to false. Creator equals to creator, and assigned to is equals to assigned to. Sorry, not like that, assigned to. Perfect. So that's done. And what we can do is we can say const data equals to await response.json. Okay, and if the data dot success, not data dot success, if the success boolean in this data which is coming from the API is not true, then do this, throw a new error, and the error will be failed to add task. Okay, if that is not the case, then just return the data as it is. Perfect. So let's handle that as well. Console log the error. Then we need to return a custom message. First of all, we will say success is not true, success is false. Okay, then message will be something went wrong. Okay, and yeah, so I believe this is correct. Let's go through this once. Yeah, so let's go in our API folder and create a folder for add to route, add to do. I believe we need to change here to add to do. Okay, so let's open this route.js, and here we need to import our to do model which we created earlier in this video, right? And we also need our database middleware connection DB. Okay, and we also need next response. Okay, I believe that's all the things which we need. So let's create the route export async function post request, and we'll say await connection DB. All right, so we need to call it like this, connection DB. So let's have a try catch block here. So in here we will say const, and we'll be getting these details: text, completed, assigned to, and creator. These are all the details which we are sending from the server action, right? And we will get these details from request.json. okay, request body. All right, so let's do this. Before that, let's console log the details if we are getting it or not. API, I think this is wrong. So let's do this. From here I will just say like this: post API, no response. But yeah, we are getting the details, right? These are the details, so that means it's working fine. Ignore the error, we are not sending the next response, that's why it is showing this particular error. But yeah, the details are there. So what we can do is we can just simply say const to do equals to new to do. Okay, and here we will say text, we need to send text, then completed, then creator, then assigned to. Okay, so see, in this case we don't want to do this creator is creator, because if the names are same, then we don't need to send it in this format. We can just simply say creator. Okay, all right, so that's done. So let's say await to do dot save. Okay, and so what we need to do is you can see that this assigned to, like in our schema, this assigned to is nothing but an object ID, right? Again, this is object ID. So what we need to do is we need to populate that object ID and get certain data out of it. For example, we now have access to this to do, right? But in this to do, if we return just this to do here, this to do will return IDs for these creators, user IDs of this particular creators, right? We don't need that, we need actual data. So for that we are going to use a function dot populate function from MongoDB. Okay, so let me just show you how we can do that. Const populated to do equals to await to do dot find by ID. Okay, so what is the ID? ID is this to do dot underscore ID, to do dot underscore ID. Okay, and now what we need to do is we need to call the populate function on this populate. Okay, and in this we need to mention what we need to populate. So first we are going to populate the creator. The fields which we require are underscore ID, we need this. Then we need first name, sorry, not, it is not comma separated, it is a space separated. Okay, so we need first name, we need last name. Okay, we need email. These are the things we need. Apart from that, also we need to further populate this for our assigned to user, right? Assigned to. So what all details we need? The same. So I can just copy this. Okay, so yeah, that's done. Let's do one thing. Now let's send this data back to the front end. So let's check this once. If populated to do, if this exists, okay, in that case return next response, which will be .json. Okay, and where we will send message to do is added. Okay, also we will send success is true. Along with that we will send this new populated to do. Okay, that is what we are trying to do. So that's there. Then let's go back to catch. In this case, we are just sending a custom message, next response .json. Let's say message something went wrong in route. Okay, and this will successfully be failed or false, and we'll also send the error message along with this. Okay, so let's check if this is working or not. Okay, for that purpose what we can do is we can just go back to our this to do, and inside this, now what we need to do is we need to check for it. Here we'll console log it, console.log to do response. Okay, and also what we need to check is we also need to check if the response is success. If it is success, in that case only we need to run the set task function. Okay, so let's cut this from here and let's wrap it with the if statement. If response and response dot success, if that is the case, only then do this. But now what we need to do is we need to send this. Okay, sorry, not like this, like this. We need to send the data like this. All right, now let's test it out if this is working fine or not. So for that, what I will do is I will just open my MongoDB compose. Okay, there are only 3 tasks, so let's see if this gets added or not. And I have also opened my console here, so let's say test task. Okay, so that task is added here, you can see. But if I refresh this, I need to see if, yeah, so that task is added here in the database as well. Okay, that's perfect. So the add task functionality is working fine, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to get the details from the database. So all these tasks which we have here, the dummy tasks, let's get those details from the database itself. Okay, for that purpose what we can do is we can create a function here itself below handle, no, above, let's do it above. So let's say const handle get all to do's equals to async okay, and in this case we just need to do this const response equals to await get all to do's. We need to create this server action. It is not there right now. User ID. Okay, and we'll say if again response and response dot success, then only do this set tasks equals to response dot to do's. Sorry, not like to do's, like this. Okay, so let's go back to our to do actions, and below this we will create a new to do. Okay, and we will say export async get all to do's. Not, I think I have, so I did a mistake here. This should be get all to do's. Okay, because we are get all to do's. Okay, so get all to do's here, and we are passing the user ID, the logged in user's ID, and again we will need a try catch block. Let's say const response equals to await fetch. Again we need to create this API route. It is not there right now. HTTP localhost 3000 API get user to do's. Okay, once that is done, we need to set the method as post. Then the content type in the header should be application JSON. Application JSON, and we also need to send the body in stringified format, and we are just going to send the user ID. Perfect. Sorry, there's a mistake here. Okay, and yeah, that's it. Const data equals to await export async function. We need to say function here. Const data await response.json. Okay, and we are just returning the data here. In case of error, we'll just return the error. Okay, I think this is done. Let's go and create our API route. So it should be get user to do's and route.js. Okay, now again we need to do the same thing. We need to import this, and yeah, so await connection db, and we will have a try catch block here. So let's grab user ID from the body. User ID equals to await response dot, sorry, not resize, it's response dot json. Okay, so now what we need to do is understand this. So we need those tasks which are assigned to us by some other user, or they are created by us. Okay, these two kinds of tasks we need. So for that we are going to use or query by MongoDB. Okay, let me write it, and I will explain that later on. So const to do's equals to await to do dot find. So we are going to return all the to do's, okay, for this particular condition. So or the condition is this: assigned underscore to is user ID, or creator user ID. Okay, if these two things are same, then return the to do's. Okay, but we don't need to do that only, we also need to populate it. Okay, because it will only return us the ID, so we need to populate that. So let's do populate, and inside this we need to pass path equals to assigned, sorry, like the assigned to. Okay, and here we need to again select what all details we need. So details are first name, not comma separated, space separated, last name, email, and underscore ID. These are the things we need from the assigned to. And again we need to call populate function, populate. Now we path is creator, and and select is first name, last name, email, and underscore ID. Okay, so these are the details we need. So let's say if to do's, if to do's exist, okay, in that case do this. So we'll just return next response dot json. Okay, and the message will be not like that, this to do added. Okay, and also success will be true, and we are just going to pass to-dos. Okay, along with that we'll also send status as 200, and here in the catch block we'll just return a custom response. Perfect. So let's test it out if we are getting the details or not. So for that, what I can do is I have this Thunder client here, so I will just say localhost get all user to dos. If I just send this, so it will say 405. Okay, it is not like that. I just need to post it as well. So body, and I need to pass on the user ID. I will grab it from the session. 1 second. This is the user ID, and let's see, something went wrong in the route. Am I doing something wrong? 1 second, let me just check. Yes, the user ID is not like that. Get user to dos in. 1 second, let me just see what I'm doing wrong. Actually the issue is this, so it should be request, not response. Okay, so hopefully this should work now, and as expected it is working. Awesome. So you can see that we are also getting the assign to and creator values here, right? All those which we selected. So perfect. So this is working. So let's go back to our to do, and here I believe we need to call this function now. And where we will call this, we will need to call it. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to create a use effect here again, use effect, and this use effect will have a function, and here we will call this to do. Okay, what is the error now? Avoid get all to dos user. Get all to dos is not defined. Okay, let's define it then. Add to do and get all to dos. So if you can see, now we are getting the to dos directly from the database. So these 4 to dos are from database. Okay, there is some issue. Okay, we also need to set a dependency here. So yeah, so now it's working properly. So we have 4 to dos here, and all these to dos are coming from our database from here. Okay, let me just show you if that this data is coming directly from to dos. So I will delete this DSA one from here. So I will just delete this DSA. Okay, and I will reload the page. You can see the DSA is deleted. I will also go ahead and delete the test task, and you can see that the test task will also get deleted. Okay, so yeah, so the data, this get to do data is coming from the database now. Perfect. You can keep it like this, or you can delete it, but for now I'm going to keep it like this for the people who are going to refer to the code. All right, so we have done get to dos, we have done add to dos. Now we need to do delete to do and edit to do, right? These 2 things we need to figure out now. So let's quickly go and work on the delete one, right? So again, let's convert this into a async function now, async id, and here we will call const response equals to await delete to do, delete to do. Okay, and in this case we are going to pass 2 things, one is id and another one is user id. Okay, sorry, not like this. Before we do this, I want to make sure one thing. For example, in this case this task is assigned by Snehal, right? And the owner is also Snehal, so owner is not Radhika. So this task should not be edited or deleted by Radhika in any way. So to do that, what we can do is we can just go back to our task. Where is it? Task. Okay, and we will write some custom logic here, so that this details, this edit and delete will only show to the owner of that particular task, not the assigned person. Okay, so let's say user ID equals to task dot creator dot underscore id. Okay, if that is the case, then we need to show this, else it will be null, nothing will be there. So just okay, so you can see that the user ID is not available here. I will just import that, allow me a minute, but before that doing that I will just complete the logic here. I need to do the similar thing here. User ID is equals to task dot creator dot underscore id. In that case I'll show this, or else it will be null. So just copy this, move it here, done. So now we need to pass user ID here. So just call user ID and I will pass it from what to do. So we need to pass user ID as well. So here user ID is user ID. Okay, perfect. So you can see that the delete and edit buttons are now gone. Okay, so yeah, that was the purpose of this. Let's go back and delete this as well. We don't need this. So let's go back to our delete function here. Yeah, and now what we need to do is we need to check for the response. If response and sorry, response dot success, if that is the case, then and then only do this. Okay, did I miss something? Sorry, it's if. Okay, all right, so we have said that as well. So now what we need to do is we need to go and create this action. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to create a delete action. So let's go. So export async function delete to do, and we'll say to do id comma user id. Okay, so try catch. So we'll say const, again this API is not created, we'll create this API route, await fetch http localhost 3000 /API /delete to do. Okay, and again this will be a post method will be post, and headers will be this. In body we are going to send JSON stringify, and here we are going to send to do ID as well as user ID. Okay, now come back here, const data equals to await response.json. Okay, and then return data. In case something went wrong, what we can do is we can just say this. Okay, perfect. So I believe this is good, and let's go to API, create a folder called as delete to do, and inside this create a file called as route.js. and again what we need to do is we need to copy all those three things and export async function post request, and we need to await our connection DB middleware. Okay, then we will call try catch block, and inside this we will get the user ID and to do ID from our body response body. So we'll say request.json, not response, it's a request. Okay, and now what we can do is we can say const to do equals to await to do dot find one, and in here we will say id equals to do id as well as creator equals to user id. Okay, these two things should match. If not to do, if that to do doesn't exist, what we can do is we can say return next response.json, and here we will say message to do not found, and success will be false, and status will be 404. And if that is not the case, then what we need to do is we need to perform the delete action. Const delete to do, not like that, delete to do equals to await to do dot delete one, and here we are going to pass the to do id underscore id equals to do id. Okay, I believe we are not sending it like this. Let me check. To do actions, it's like this, to do id. Okay, and also here in our to do, yeah, we are just sending like that. Okay, perfect. So let's go back to our route, and we'll say next response.json message to do deleted, success false, sorry, this will be true, and we will send the deleted to do back. All right, and the status will be not like this, it should be like this. Status will be 200 because it's okay, and again here we will send a custom message, and we will console log the error in case there is an error. Perfect. So now let's go ahead and test it. So create a to do test delete. Okay, and I will delete this. So we have got an error, which is good. It is saying delete to do is not defined. Very good. We need to go ahead and delete, call this to do here. Perfect. So let's try that now. Perfect, that's deleted. You can see it's not coming back. Okay, and you can also see that from the database also we only have two to dos. So yeah, delete function is also working properly. What is pending now? Edit function. If I reload this page, it is not highlighted by default all tasks, so we can go back to do, and here I believe this should be all. Yeah, that fixed it. Okay, so now we need to work on the edit functionality. First of all, convert this into a async function, async, and let's say const response equals to await, update to do. Okay, and inside this we are going to pass id, the user id, as well as a new text, as well as a new assigned to. Okay, and now we'll say if response dot and response dot success, then only do this. Okay, but again what we need to do is we need to pass the new text as text, new assignee with this we need to change, and this also we need to change. Okay, so let's delete this, and instead of this let's write response dot to do dot assigned to. We'll get these details from the database in the response. Okay, and similarly we will say response dot to do dot creator. What is the error now? What we missed? Line number 124. Okay, so we have done that. ID text assigned to created to. So these details will come from the database, and that will be updated accordingly. Perfect. So let's go to our handle edit function and task. I believe here we have somewhere manually set it. So let's go to edit task, and here I will just say like this. Okay, and I will remove it from here. All right, I believe we are doing it correctly. Now if we are here, okay, now let's go back to our to do, and here on edited task let's cross check everything. It's working fine. Let's go back to to do dot action, and let's copy this, or else no, let's create our own to avoid any mistakes. Export async function update to do. Here we will get to do ID, user ID, new text, and new assigned to. Okay, these are the things which we are going to get. All right, and now let's create a try catch block. In here let's say const response equals to await fetch http localhost 3000 API update to do. Again, this API route is not created, we will create it shortly. Now let's say method is post. Okay, headers, I believe I made some mistake. Okay, the mistake is this, that we need to pass it as an object. So method post headers equals to object content type application slash JSON. Okay, and after that I will get that response in data as response.json, and I will have to await that because this will return a promise. We'll look into promises in some other video. Okay, and now we need to return data. All right, in case of issue we need to just send a custom message. Okay, something went wrong, and error message along with that. Perfect. So okay, we missed body is important. We need to send body here. So let's say body json dot stringify to do ID, user ID, new text, new assigned to, and also we are going to send an action. Why action? I will quickly explain this to you. One second, update. Yeah, so have a look here. So if I click on this and I reload the page, you can see that is not saved in database right now. So this toggle action is not updated. So we are going to use the same route, the update to do API, for toggling as well as updating the to-do. So we need to mention what action it is right now. So is it a update action or is it a toggle action? So for now it's update. In the next server action we will create for toggle, right? I hope that's clear. Okay, so yeah, I believe this is done. So let's go back. Let's create an API and name it update to do, and inside this let's create a route.js. All right, and again the three things we need. So let's say export async function post request. Okay, we are going to await connection DB. Okay, let's call a track as block. Inside we are going to take action, to do ID, user ID. Okay, new text or new assigned to. Sorry, I don't want to mess things up. I'll just copy this and I will just paste it here. And I want that details from await request.json request body. Okay, perfect. So let's state our action. If action equals to update, if that is the case, then do this. So what we need to do, first we need to find it. Okay, so we'll do to do dot find one and update, find one and update, this one. So again, these are all methods provided by MongoDB. Okay, so you can just use those. So now what we need to do is we need to find a to do where the owner of that to do is the user ID. Okay, so that is the requirement. So let's try to write that. So underscore ID equals to do ID, to do ID. One second, did I pass it wrong again? No, that's correct. Okay, to do ID and the creator is user ID. Okay, so that is the case. So we are checking against this. Okay, that we need to find a to do where ID of the to do and creator of the to do match. Okay, not ID exact match, but these two should be present in the database. Perfect. So let's go back. Now if anything you need to update in document or in MongoDB, you need to use this set command, set. So we are going to update the need text as new text. Okay, and assigned to underscore to new assigned to. Okay, so this will save it like that. Also we need to set this as a new, so that it will return as a document, updated document. Okay, yeah, so this is done. If not to do, if the to do doesn't exist, then in that case we need to say this. If not to do, return, sorry, again I need to do that here. If not to do, return next response dot JSON, where a message will be message to do not found, and success will be false and status will be 404. Okay, I hope that's clear. Then if we found the to do, in that case what we need to do is we need to return the to do. So const populate to do equals to await. I think we have already done this, so I will just grab this piece of code. All right, and again what we need to do this, in this case we need to return next response dot JSON, where message will be to do updated and success will be true, and to do will of course be the populated to do. All right, and in case of error we are just going to send a classic error which we are sending till now, and we are also going to console.log the to do, not to do, sorry, the error. So there is one more thing I want to discuss. So if you go here, you see that there are assigned to and there are users here, right? We need to get these users from the database. That's the case, right? So how can we do that? So let's first do that and then we will handle the toggle issue. Okay, perfect. So let's go back where to our to do, and here we will write a function just below this, and we'll name this const get all users equals to async, and it will be const response equals to await get all users. I will just name it client for now because I don't want them to have same name. Okay, get all users. Then here what I will do is I will call it as a function, and I will just again do the same response dot success. If that is the case, then I will say set users equals to response dot users. Okay, I believe I have already created this set users. Okay, that's done. Now this function I want to call here. Maybe it will throw an error now, but I want to call it here just below the handle get all to do's. Okay, now let's go ahead and create this, and I want to create this in the user actions because this is of course a user action. Okay, so let's say export async function get all users. There are no dependencies for this particular thing, so let's try catch const response equals to await fetch http localhost 3000 /API /get all users. Okay, and the method here will be get. There won't be any body, but we will send headers content dash type equals to application /JSON. Okay, and now here we'll just say const data equals to await response dot JSON, and we will just return data. Perfect, and here we will just show the generic message. Got it. All right, so now go again to our API directory and create this API get all users. Okay, inside this create a route, and inside this route this will be a fairly simple route. So import, I will just copy this again, Okay, this time we are not going to import the to do, but we are going to import the user here, user model. Okay, now let's say export async function get. Okay, there is no request or response here, so await connection db. All right, again we will need a try catch block. So in here we will say const all users equals to await user dot find. Now I don't want all the data from that database, so I will select what all things we need, right? So I will say select, and I need these things: ID, first name, last name. These are the only things which I need. Okay, now let's do this. Let's return next response.json, and here message users success to users, all users, this one. Okay, that is done. And for the error, we are just going to use the generic error. Okay, perfect. So let's test it out if this is working or not. So let's go to our Thunder client, new request, localhost, get all users. Okay, there is an error, 404 API get all users. Okay, this is not correct. It should be get all users. Perfect. So it is giving me 3 users: Snehal, Radhika, and test name. If you see the database, in the user section, we only have 3 users. So this is perfect and this is correct. Okay. All right. Then what we need to do? So let's come back to the to do and see if we are getting the details for the users or not. Okay. So let's do one thing. Let's log these users. Let's reload the page once, and we are not getting the users for some reason. Okay, get all users is not defined. Perfect, that can be fixed. Import get all users. Okay, I believe it should work now. Yeah, so you can see that we are getting the 3 users here. Okay, first name, last name, and ID. These are the 3 things which we require. That's great. Okay, now let's go back. Let's go back here, and we will send all users. Auto completion is not working anyways. All users to the task, and we will also send it here. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to go to edit task, and inside this inside this we need to call our users as well, all users. Okay, now let's do one thing. Go to options. Where is options? Here. Go here, and so first thing is we need to create a list of all users here. So we'll say all users dot and all users dot map, and we will say I user. I'll just say I user for now. And here what I will do is, something is wrong here. No, here what I will do is I will say I user dot underscore ID is not equals to task dot assign to dot underscore id. If that is the case, if this is true, then and then only do this. Okay, option. So what this means is that the user, this task is already assigned to, I don't want that user here. Okay, if for example this task is already assigned to Snail, so I don't want to show Snail in that particular list right now where I am mapping this. Okay, that is the only thing which is it is doing. So you can just ignore that. Key equals to iUser dot underscore id. Okay, then value equals to iUser dot underscore id again. All right, and here what we'll do is we will do this. We'll say iUser dot first name and iUser dot last name, so that we get first and last name, and there is an empty space as well. So let's see if it's working. So right, yeah, it's working right now. Okay, so this task is assigned by Radhika to Radhika. So if you go here, you can see that it is not showing Radhika here, right? It is just showing Snail Tide and test name. That is the only thing. But what we can do is we can also create this here. About this function, we'll say option and we'll give it a key. Task dot assign to question mark dot underscore id. Okay, and the value will be task dot assigned to question mark dot underscore id. All right, and here we will say again the similar thing which we are done here. Just copy this and we just need to do it like that. Okay, so if you go ahead now, you can see that Radhika Maheshwari is the first selected one. She will always be the first because she is the one who this task is assigned to. Okay, I hope that's clear. All right, so that's done, and we also need to run some functions here. So on select, we need to run this on change event on change. Okay, and it will be an inline function. So we'll say e equals to set edit assigned to e dot target dot value. So this set assigned to is nothing but this set new assigned to. Okay, so I've made mistake, I will clear it up. All right, so that is done. Let me see if I'm missing something. No, it's perfect. So let's do this. Let me just change this to test name and see what happens now. I got an error. It's saying update to do is not defined. Perfect. And where it is not defined? In our to do. Okay, so let's call that as well, update to do. Okay, let's try it again. Again we got error. So it says cannot read properties of assigned to. Okay, so this is happening in where? 136 again here, response dot to do dot assigned to. I think that is the correct one. Let's do one thing. Let me console.log response task 2 Snail Tide, and again got the same error. Let me see what happened there. Success is true, to do is null. So let's go back to where? To our update to do route. Here the to do is showing as null. So why that is happening? Let's see. So let's console log to do Also at the same time, let's console log populate to do. Let's debug this like this. Now what we need to do is we need to just perform the action again. Okay, so it says this, there is some sort of error here. One second, what is the error? Okay, one second, I think I understand this. So this should be await, we should have await here, that is the only issue. And yeah, we are having await here. So await, that was the missing point, because see, this is returning a promise to us and we need proper data. So see, this is updated now. Okay, so this is assigned to Snail now. If I go ahead and I say Radhika Maheshwari, so I will say test name update, it will update accordingly. And if I add something here, it is also updating. Let me refresh. Yeah, perfect. So it's working, right? The edit functionality is working now. So what is not working is the toggling. Okay, so let's fix that quickly. All right, so let's go back to our to do. Okay, and what we can do is we can call a function called as handle toggle or something like this one. Okay, so what we can do is we can modify this function to update the database. So let's try that. So let's say const response equals to await toggle to do. I just need to pass in the ID of the to do as well as the user ID who is marking it as complete. Okay, and let's mark this as async. Perfect. Now I need to perform this if response.success, then only perform this, or else don't do that. Okay, awesome. So now what we need to do is we need to first of all, I think I have misspelled it, so it should be toggle to do. Okay, let's get this toggle to do from our to do actions. So let's go to do action and let's copy this. We just need to copy this now and rename it to update to do and remove this for now. And here we need to set toggle. Okay, remove this as well. Perfect. To do ID, user ID, we have that. Now go back and go to update to do. Where is update to do? Update to do. Okay, and here what we can do is we can say if action equals to toggle. If that is the case, then do one thing. First find out the to do, if it is there or not. To do await not like this, await to do dot find one. Okay, and here ID will be the to do ID. All right, then here we will say if not to do, if to do doesn't exist, show this message, return next response dot JSON. Message will be this, to do not found, and status will be 404. Okay, perfect. So that is that. Okay, if that is not the case, if there is a to do, then it's very simple thing which we need to do, and that is to do dot completed. If to do is completed, if so just set that to do dot completed, set it to negative to do dot completed. So whatever the value of this to do dot completed is, just turn it to uno, reverse it. So for example, if this is false, then it will be true. if by default it's true, it will be false. It will just toggle it. It will just toggle it. Okay. Let's do await to-do.save. Perfect. And now what we need to do is we need to return next response.json. We'll say message is to do updated or to do completed, whatever suits best. Success will be true, and we will return the to do. Okay, that's the thing. Now let's try and see if this is working or not. Perfect. So this is done. Okay, so our delete to do is working, our edit to do is working, our filters are working, our add to do is working, everything is working here. Okay, now there are certain things which I leave up to you. So you can see this is a multi-user to-do list app. Okay, you can make it a multi-tenant one. So what I mean by tenant base is, right now we are getting all the users here from our database, but let's not do that. What we can do is we can create a company-wide database, that there will be multiple companies and each company's data will be separate from other, and they will have only those users and those employees here. Okay, so that kind of extension you can do. Apart from that, what you can do is you can have a notification system. So right now there is no notification system here. Okay, so for example, if I assign something to someone, then it should notify the customer, or it should notify not the customer, if it should notify the assigned to user. Okay, so you can expand this, you can expand it in a lot of way. Again, these APIs, they are not protected. Okay, so anyone with these details can post it to them. So your homework is to also find out how we can protect this API with NextAuth. Definitely we are going to cover that in the future, but yeah, that is all for today. But I hope you understood this. In case you have any questions or need any help in extending this app, please comment out on the video and I will definitely get back to you on this. All right, thank you so much guys. See you in the next video. Bye.